We'll go right into questions. Start again with that.
Yeah, we look at a number of ways to sort of measure y'all's efficiency, plays per minute, how short the scoring drives are. I'm curious how you guys gauge how efficient your tempo is.
Yeah, I felt like last week, those first couple of drives was really the first time it looked like what it should look like. You can see when when you go back and watch it on film, in the course of the game, it's hard. You can see the ball's not getting snapped as fast as you want it, but you can look and see if the defense is lined up, it's not getting snapped as fast as you want it. That's where it's easy to see it on film. We want to get the thing snapped as fast as we can, obviously without sacrificing our integrity of how we play, being sound technically, being aligned correctly, and obviously preventing pre-snap penalties. That cost us a little bit early in the season. I felt like this week was the first time we were able to be efficient, eliminating the pre-snap penalties. You're trying to use it to your advantage rather than to your disadvantage. And I'm stating the obvious there, but this week was the first time I thought early in the game it looked like what it should look like in terms of us being able to use it to an advantage, both in the run game and pass game.
Is that just, are you seeing defenders look around? How are you gauging that they aren't ready?
Just are the D-linemen hands in the ground? Are their cleats in the ground? Are they set? Are they able to read the keys that they're supposed to read? Or does it look semi-chaotic? So I don't. There's not really a scientific way. You could look at it too and say they don't look lined up.
Patrick?
Alex, having been with Hendon and coached him since the spring, and obviously had 15 games of film on him at Virginia Tech, is there anything that he's done since he took over against Pitt that surprised you, or maybe you didn't expect from him?
I don't know about surprised. I thought through spring and through camp there was a calm demeanor about him. There was a sense of collectedness, a sense of maturity. Good or bad, whatever happened, the response was always the same. It's really exactly what you want from a player. It's, I think, what players want from us as coaches, be the same guy every day. That's what Hendon is. He has really been efficient in how he's played. He's been able to hand the ball off when he's supposed to. He's been able to throw the ball when he's supposed to. He's given us a really good element in the run game in terms of him being able to run the ball. What you didn't know through spring and summer, because they're in a red jersey, you can't hit him, is how tough he is. He is a certifiable dude in terms of toughness. He runs the ball extremely hard. Sometimes if you ask Joey, needs to be smarter in how he's finishing runs. I think from the outside looking in, it's awesome, but he's also diving head first sometimes and like a little bit chaotic there. That's your quarterback on the ground. But I think he brings a spark, and the way he plays, everybody else around him sees that, and they feed off of him. So I've been really proud of the way he's, one, taking care of the football. That's job number one for a quarterback, take care of the football. And then in terms of timing, ball placement, efficiency, I feel like he's been really sound in what he's done. I think more than anything for us moving forward, there was a question about the tempo. I think it's him being comfortable snapping that football as fast as we need him to. I don't know the first couple of weeks that he did that. I felt like this last week he did. Again, this last week we were efficient on first down, so for him it was easy. You were confident getting up there. When you're running the ball efficiently and playing in 2nd and 2, 2nd and 3, makes it easier to snap the ball and make fast decisions. I was more proud, honestly, the week before at Florida, where he made really good decisions in tough third down situations, taking care of the football, getting it to the right spots. That to me, in a hostile environment where it was chaotic and there was adversity on every single drive, where you saw him kind of flash, listen, this is the same guy on every single drive. And then we got down in the fourth quarter and it was still the same guy on every single drive. And when you know what you're going to get from your quarterback, it makes it really simple in terms of, he's going to execute the play to the best of his ability, and it's going to go to the right spot, which makes it really simple from our end.
Brent and Wes.
Coach, you guys, as coaches, have always said this offense, you conform it to your personnel and what you have. 5 games in, have you guys dialed in the identity and kind of everybody's role? Have we seen that the last couple of weeks compared to the first 2 or 3 weeks where I'm sure there was some filling out process of what guys could do what?
Yeah, dead on. Really, really good question. I think through camp for us, we had a bunch of guys banged up on and off, Velas being one of them, and you couldn't place them. You had new guys in Joe and Javante Payton that you were trying to figure out what they were, who they were. You had Jalen Hyatt, who was banged up the entire spring. You had Tyon Evans, who was banged up the entire spring. And so you were trying to feel those guys out. And yes, it took us a minute to get to who are really our best 11, then who's 12, then who's 13, and who's 14, and who are package guys, who are guys you can go to with certain things, both in the run game and pass game. I think in any evolution of a program, of an offense, you figure out who those pieces are, who you need to keep involved, who needs to keep growing and needs more time to keep evolving and developing. I feel like we're closer to honing in on it. I feel like we're playing this last week, the week prior, primarily this last week, we're playing with who we think gives us the best chance to win, and we have a good feel for who their backups are and what those roles are for those guys starting to evolve. I think it's hard when you start getting guys banged up and now guys have to fill in. You're kind of shuffling pieces, O-line being one of them, where you're trying to figure out who really that 6th guy is. And to be honest with you, a lot of time you don't find out until you're in the thick of the storm and you see how guys respond and how guys react to adverse situations. And yeah, it's taken us some time to figure it out. I feel like we're close to figuring it out, and we need to be, because right now we're right in the thick of it, and we're conference play, and we got to be at our best. Obviously Saturdays. So as injuries happen, you got to adjust. But I feel like we're getting really close to figuring out who we can really count on offensively.
A couple things, Alex. I guess first off, when y'all have been happy with the buy-in from the guys, or at least you told us you've been happy with the buy-in from the guys since you've been here. But when you go on the road to play an SEC game and you put up 62 points and it maybe could have been even more than that, do you sense from the players that they get this now, that they feel like this is what can happen if they execute this offense?
Yeah, it's obviously easier when there's a result that can sign off on what you've been preaching. Me personally, I have preached nothing but our process of how we get there. If you're result driven, especially you're building a program virtually from scratch with a slimmed down roster, and those are all excuses, and we can talk about it and write about it. We have who we have, and we have to teach, in a lot of ways, a lot of young guys at a bunch of different spots. We have to teach them what the process looks like to win, what a winner's process looks like. And the result of it, the end result, you can't control. All we can control is our process about how we go our daily business, how we wake up, how we go to breakfast, how we get treatment, how we watch film, how we show up at practice, the energy level we bring, our attitude, our effort, how after practice we go to treatment, we go to study table, when we go to sleep, how many hours of sleep we get, all of those things that you're teaching, specifically guys that have not played college football at this level. We've preached so much process-driven things where the result will take care of itself. Saturday, everybody's writing that we're this running football team that's executing at a high clip. The Saturday before, we scored 14 points. And I'm not preaching, if you are result driven, it's going to be up and down every week, especially with a young team, especially with a bunch of guys that haven't played. So for us, it is all about process and all about how you go about your daily business. What happens on Saturday at noon has nothing to do with what plays we call, what their defense is. It has everything to do with the lead up to it. And again, I know I sound like I'm preaching, and I'm really not. That is literally how we go about our daily business. And the end result is the end result. The defense presented us with the ability to run the football. We ran the football on Saturday. Whatever the defense presents us, we're gonna do our very best to attack their weakness. But in terms of how we've preached and having to sell what we're doing, the guys have bought in, because if the ones that didn't buy in are not here. And there's still a couple that young guys that have no idea how they fit, figuring it all out. And our job as coaches is to get those guys in the fray and buy in and find roles for them. And for some of them, that may be redshirting. For some of them, that may be scout team. But for us to have to validate what you're doing to the guys, how you treat them, how you talk to them, how you coach them, how you love them every day, that's where the buy-in comes from. The end result, like if you live on end results all day, you're going to have gray hair. I'm starting to get gray hair, but you can't live on the end result. The end result takes care of itself. And in elite programs, the process is right. From January 28th to today, all we've cared about is our process of how we prepare. Because if you prepare like a winner, you win, generally. If you prepare like a loser, you lose. So that's been our I don't know, mantra, whatever. I'm not a slogan guy, but that's been our call to them, is how do we get them to perfect their process in everything we do. We are nowhere near where we should be yet.
In terms of in terms of Jimmy Callaway, Jalen Hyatt, what's next for them in terms of their development? Obviously, a lot of talent there, but maybe some execution issues at times. What's the next step for them to put themselves back in position to play more?
Yeah, they got to get their process right. Jimmy, those guys are both young guys. They both have a bunch of talent. They both have a bunch of ability. Jalen Hyatt has gotten closer to getting his process right to prepare. He's still learning how to play within the offense. I'm absolutely not down on Jalen Hyatt. He's still learning how to play. He's an electric player. He's really fast. We got to continue to find ways to get him the football. And I think he's going to continue to grow and have a really bright future here. He's still young in so many different ways. Jimmy Callaway has to continue to learn. Again, this is his second year playing receiver. This is his second year in college. He's still figuring it all out. And Cody's done a really good job of helping him there. I feel like we're all hands on deck with Jimmy Callaway, trying to help him continue to perfect his process. Again, has nothing to do with Saturday. You guys see the result of what his daily process looks like. He's got to continue to grow up and perfect that part of it. There's a ton of talent in there. He's going to be a really electric player here at some point as well.
Last question, really quickly, Jimmy. 1 minute.
Would you talk about, in short yardage situation, the pros and cons of your quarterback being in a shotgun versus being under center?
Yeah. When he's in the shotgun, you have the ability to read one side or the other in terms of whether you want to throw the football, whether you want to run the football, whether you want the quarterback to keep the football and run it himself. When you're under center, you're predetermining whether you're going to throw the football or hand the football off.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
You're welcome.